Okay. How are you today, Daniel?
I am doing great. Excited to talk to you. Excited to talk about music.
Awesome, cool. Thank you, thank you. So I guess we can just kind of start from the beginning. First off, I want to say thank you so much for your time. You are my first guest for music on my channel. Kero Riri Paddle is more so a channel where I talk to people that are involved in the communities for my interests. So I love K-Indie, and I find you as one of the most prolific curators in that community, and I really appreciate everything you've done for us and for the artists as well.
Thank you. I'm touched. I'm so happy that I'm up there in your list.
Cool, cool. Okay, so I guess we could start from the beginning. I've seen some of your interviews, I've read some of your interviews and your vlogs, but can you tell me and anyone else who sees this who you are and what your channels are about?
So my name is Daniel. I am Canadian. I get this question a lot. I am not actually Korean, but I've been influenced in Korean culture for, God, like a decade now. Learning the language. Well, I have been taking a little break now, but just overall super into music, super into Korean indie, Korean underground music. And I guess like how most people know me is as a music curator on YouTube, but my music curation goes way back. Maybe I'll give you a little background, but for those that don't know, but I used to start out on a website called 8 Tracks, which is kind of like a music playlist website. And Korean music, Korean indie music especially, was such a small subsection of that website. And I was probably one of the bigger playlisters there. And I remember being so excited when I got like 1,000 listens or like 100 likes and stuff. But now my YouTube channel has blown up. But yeah, so I started off on 8 Tracks, did a lot of playlists there, and eventually the 8 Tracks closed down. So I was looking for a new place to post music, and I just did it on YouTube for funsies, and it blew up, and here we are.
Cool, cool, wow. How many followers do you have now on your channels, by the way?
Oh God, I think I have to check, but I know it's on my playlist channel. I just uploaded a playlist yesterday, so I think I have like 268,000 there, and then probably 160,000 on my Danielions music channel. So
Wow, that's crazy. I remember when you hit 100K and you did a face reveal.
oh my God, you watched that?
Yeah, like, as soon as I went out, I got the notification of it. But it's crazy because not only has your channel grown so much over these years, but like the artists that you feature on your channel as well, it's amazing to see some of them like move over to Spotify or start their own YouTube channels and just see them grow too.
Yeah, honestly, like the reason these days, I guess, why I continue with my channel and my main motivation is twofold, really. So for like the listeners, for them to have some music to listen to when they're doing homework, studying, or when they're sad, or even when they're happy, right? But also on the flip side is supporting these artists, because there's so much talent out there, and like you said, there was a few artists who got signed after getting more attention. A lot of like they're growing their fan base essentially, and I think I helped them do that. Or there's other ones who are like making a living off of it. So it really like touches my heart.
Yeah, yeah. Hey man, honestly, you do so much for the community, and I know we're all grateful for that. But I guess
I have a question for you. Real quick.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you saw that 100,000 subscriber video, and how long have you followed my channels for?
You know what's funny? I would say that it is almost 4 years to the day.
Oh my God.
I remember actually it was I'm from Toronto, and as you know, like our winters are cold in Canada, but my friends put me on like K-pop and K-rock like maybe 5-6 years ago, and I listen to a lot of different music and I play a bunch of different instruments. So for me, it's just nice to get like a different like cultural background for music. And like one of my friends said, hey, you should listen to Jay Park. And I'm like, okay, I'll listen to Jay Park. And I was listening to Jay Park on YouTube. And after his, I think it was Everything You Wanted was the album that came out. Afterwards, the algorithm recommended one of your playlists. So at the time, I didn't really know of anything, but I just started listening to it, and then from there, I kind of got into all of that music. And honestly, I think if it wasn't for your channel, then I probably would have came into K indie, but it would have taken some time.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, but honestly, 4 years.
Jeez, you're like one of the OG ones for sure.
Makes me feel a little bit old. I appreciate, just being in the community and seeing more people come to it, because now it's like I could be walking on the street and I see someone wearing like SLCHLD merch or Keshi merch, and I can't help but feel like, oh, okay, I remember when they only had like, a couple thousand, if that.
There's always that sense of joy, like, and happiness too, and like, I know a lot of people on YouTube, whenever they leave comments, they're always like, I wish this artist a lot of success. I want them to blow up, but at the same time, I wanted to keep them my hidden treasure. And I understand that, but really, if anyone's listening now, blow them up. They need the support. They need all the listens they can get. Don't keep it in your secret. Share it to the world. Share it to your friends.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at least we remember them before the first album came out, or we went to their first show. So we have that at least. So you mentioned a bit of like how you got into like K indie curation, but who are some of the earlier artists that were on the scene that kind of pushed you into like the K indie underground?
So but like, it's really difficult to differentiate the genres to me. But by K indie, do you just mean like the kind of just the independent artists?
Independent, or maybe in this case, anything that's not K-pop?
Yeah, it's not K-pop. So like, okay, non-idol music essentially, right? And
yeah.
If it's that, okay, I'll separate this question into two subparts. So when people say K indie, a lot of people think about kind of like the folky, acousticy stuff. So like 10 centimeters is an example, or acoustic collabo. So they're the more easy listening kind of like folk stuff essentially. So that kind of music I actually found, God, it's been so long now, but back in university, my last year of university, I took a Korean class, Korean 101, and there was an after class thing that's called Korean Conversation Club. So a lot of international students went there, and I befriended some of them, and they had like a presentation essentially based on non-K-pop music, because just showcasing it. And from that, I discovered they were talking about like 10 centimeters, Urban Zakapa. God, it's been so long since I listened to this, but acoustic collabo for sure. I have to look this up, but like that kind of non-K-pop stuff, right? Because back then I was super into K-pop. I used to stay up and watch all the stuff live with my friends, and watch like it's like Star Golden Bell and all the English translations and stuff. I used to eat it up, and like buy all the merch. But,
really? Wow.
Yeah. I was super like Koreaboo, like super K-pop lover. But the instant they showed me this music, I didn't care for K-pop at all. I was hooked. That's all I listened to, right? So and from that's where I kind of led my my 8-tracks channel to that kind of like acousticy stuff. But then I made a realization when I was starting this YouTube channel that, and I got to give a shout out to the channel Soul Vibes, because they're kind of like the OG before me, right? They put me on the SoundCloud. They put me on like the Korean R&B underground like hip hop SoundCloud, and I used to listen to SoundCloud stuff for non-mainstream music, like Western music, I guess, like American music. But something like clicked in my head that Koreans do this shit too. Like it's crazy, and there's so much talent out there, right? So there was two steps. It was like going from K-pop to smaller labels, smaller indie labels, to straight to the underground, straight to like a SoundCloud stuff.
It's funny. It's funny. I love SoundCloud so much. I wish we kept that platform alive. Like, it's still doing well, but
it's different for sure.
It was just great. There was so much good work on there. There were so many artists that they would just put out songs or remixes or covers, and it just felt so different from what you could find on YouTube or now on Spotify.
Exactly. It's like Sometimes it's not as refined as, more well-established artists, but you can honestly tell when the talent's there, and that's what I love discovering.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, love SoundCloud. So I guess because we're on the topic of SoundCloud, are there any other artists or genres that you're listening to currently?
Hmm. I feel like I listen to a lot of the same like type of music, regardless of the language. So um, I don't know. It's all just chill music. Actually, the only other genre that's not like really R&B ish is I listen to a lot of like chill electronic music. So not like EDM, not like the stuff that like they hit up in clubs and stuff, but something with like a chill beat, like DJ stuff still. But it's not like, I don't know, it's still not mainstreamy stuff, I guess. But I can definitely hook you up with a playlist after if you want to listen to it, or you can like you
No, please
can
do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, especially during lockdown, like I've been going back to a lot of my old playlists and a lot of songs and artists I haven't listened to in a while, and it's just nice to like kind of remember, oh yeah, 2016 when we were able to go places and see artists live. I remember this person.
God, yeah, like going to concerts. I haven't been to a concert in so long.
I miss them so much.
I want to give you a better answer to this though. I want to give you a better answer. Let me pull up my SoundCloud, not my SoundCloud, my Spotify real quick. Let's see who I've been into.
So I guess I should ask this: were you going to see Keshi?
In Calgary? Oh, sorry, not just to Calgary. I think he's going to Toronto too, probably for that.
Yeah, he was gonna play Rebel. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to actually. I'm from Edmonton, but so I was going to drive down with my girlfriend and see him in Calgary and stay with a friend there. But for Keshi, I've seen him twice actually. I went to. I saw your reaction. I went to Houston.
I'm a big Keshi fan.
Oh, dude, I'm the number one Keshi fan.
Oh,
I love Keshi.
you are.
Yeah.
You put everyone on Keshi.
Oh God. But Keshi, I took a trip down to Houston just by myself, just to hang out, I guess, and go to his concert. And the dude is the nicest dude ever. Like I obviously when I hit him up, he was smaller, like he wasn't as big as he is now, but he still had a decent following. So the reason why I went is just to see him. But when I told him I was heading down, he was like, yeah, like I'll hook you up and then we can like hang out after too. So yeah, I went to his concert, and afterwards, the next day we got brunch, and then he let me he let me listen to some of his unreleased music back then, which is pretty sweet. With yeah, I like James, his manager, and and his, oh my god, Kenji, fuck, sorry, I shouldn't swear, but sorry, Kenji was there too, and they're also awesome, and like they're super chill. So that was his first concert as Keshi. He did it in his hometown, Houston. And then I went to LA with my girlfriend 2 years ago now, like I think 2018, yeah. No, sorry, 2019. And yeah, he put on a good show there too. That was his, I think he had like 8 concerts or something in the States, and LA was a stop. He always puts on a good show though.
You know what? I was really looking forward to seeing him because he's a big John Mayer fan.
Oh yeah.
His music is great. I love Fender guitars, and like he's a huge Fender fan as well. So just everything about him, it's kind of like that vibe that I really like in modern day artists. And I don't know when I'm going to be able to see him live, but I hope it's soon because I think he's one of the most promising stars to come out of the K-indie scene, and he's probably going to be pretty big.
Yeah, but he's not from the K&D scene though. He's not Korean, you know that, right?
Yeah, I was confused by that. How did he end up in like the whole Korean music thing? Like,
I don't know. I actually have no idea. I want to say it's because of my channel, but I shouldn't give myself that much props because I'm sure like Korean people have heard of his before, and because his music's so good, and he's a worldwide talent. He's not just limited to being Asian or American. He's honestly, like, swear he's like a worldwide superstar to me. But yeah, I don't know. I posted on my channel, and then I guess I'm not gonna say it's because of my channel, but like, all those Korean pop people, like the BTS folks, I think RM messaged or like tweeted about him and promoted his music, and then all like the the K-pop idols love his shit too. So
As soon as you get a shout out like that, it's kind of over. You got to roll with it, you know.
the thing is though, like the thing is, he was doing really well before that RM shout out. Like I remember posting his "Like I Need You" on my channel, and it was in like hundreds of thousands, and then RM posted about it, and then blew up to probably like the millions. But still, I honestly I could talk about Keshi all day.
Yeah, you know, we'll come back to him. I could talk about Keshi a lot too, but okay, so let's talk about the scene a bit. How do you think the Korean music scene has changed since you started your channel? And is there anything about it that you're hoping to see either embraced more or maybe change a bit?
That's a tough question. I feel like the artists I deal with are like, let me think about this for a sec. How I want to put this. I think that Korean artists, and this includes like Asian Korean American artists too, it's difficult for them to get a lot of exposure in Korea, like, or not, sorry, not in Korea, but like if they sign with a Korean label, it's hard for them to get international exposure, right? So I don't know how they would do this, but I wish that Korean labels would promote more to the international scene, I guess, because obviously big hits with BTS, they're doing amazing, but there's a reason why that they're like the only prominent K-pop band right now, and the only one that's came out of Korea in like how many years of K-pop dominance. So obviously there's no easy answer to this, and I'm sure all of the K-pop like management are trying to rack their heads on how to promote to the Western style countries more. But it's definitely difficult, and even signing to a small label in Korea, like if I were to post an artist and they blew up, and they signed to like a mid or small indie label, then that's kind of where they just are, right? There's no, it's hard for them to grow more, I think. And honestly, I've talked with like some Korean distributors and stuff, and they're happy with what I do with my channel and what other people do on YouTube as well, because that does get the name out there, like the artist recognition, I guess. But it's difficult because there's such a huge market outside of Korea as well.
I feel that I agree with what you're saying, and there are so many other genres like that right now that, like, I guess hyperpop a little bit. Hyperpop is pretty popular because everyone who's still on SoundCloud or they're trying to break out on Spotify, they're pushing for this new genre, and it takes from so many other different musical styles that you have flexibility with what you create, but if you're signing with a label, you want a label to help distribute and promote your music in ways that you just can't do, whether it's because of lack of time or manpower. And I see it and I kind of question it. It's like, I know the labels want to obviously promote their artists because they want the music to be cultivated by everybody, but also it's business. They want to do good business. How do you accurately determine what markets your artist will do well in? Because if you send I guess, like, I don't know all the details of the Korean music scene, but if you send a K indie artist out on a tour in America and their stuff isn't really popping, it seems like you're just kind of throwing them into the deep end, and that could be a bad experience for them. It could be a bad experience for their brand. It could be bad for the label. So I kind of get their reluctance, but I also feel that there has to be a solution, right? Because there is so much talent that just needs to be promoted, and they need to become global. Like, especially in today's day and age, there's no such thing as regional artists anymore. You have to go and play shows in Southeast Asia. You have to go to Australia. You have to go to the UK. It doesn't matter where you're stationed. You just have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder, like, I'm not an expert in this, don't get me wrong, but I wonder how much an artist can do independently versus signing with a label. Like, Mac Ayres, I think that's how you say his name, Macayres. He's been independent throughout his whole career, and has tens of millions of followers, right? He's made it. I wonder, like, and he said that I saw on his Instagram that he no qualms about no label, like he loves being independent. So I wonder, in this day and age with the internet and everything being so globalized, what value does a label give you? Unless it's like a huge one, like, you know, Island Records or Universal and stuff. But yeah, that's an interesting question to pose.
I feel that some labels too, like I played a bit of music. I've played as a backing musician for artists that are unsigned and signed. For some of them, it seems like their goal is to sign to an indie, so they can be seen by a major, and the major will either scoop up that entire label, they'll absorb it into their umbrella, and it's kind of like a package deal, right? Like, if you like me, I have 3 other artists on the same label that I'm on, and we always do package tours, sign all of us for a 360 deal. We just kind of want to get signed and tour. But then, again, like you're saying, what can a major label that isn't like one of like the big 3 or the big 5, what can they really offer an artist in today's day and age, right? So, I don't know. I think the music scene's going to change a lot, actually. As soon as COVID opens up everything, it's going to...
For sure.
It's going to be different. I know for a fact no one's ever going to miss a show again. I'm never going to skip out any artist.
Me too. Yeah.
I miss it. Okay, so how about we get a little bit more specific? Are there any artists in particular that you've seen grow over the years and you think they can make that jump? Or maybe there's a reason why they haven't made that jump yet. Because in all fairness, I think of like from like 2017 to 2019, I've seen artists on your channel that they would kind of grow like this, and it would seem like it would stop. But the thing is, they were writing excellent songs. So it makes me wonder, like, how come they wouldn't be putting out a single for 6 months at a time?
It's a tough question. Well, but for that second point that you made, I think artists need to grow. I feel like sometimes artists get trapped in the sound that made them popular, or the sound that their fans are resonating with, and they get comfortable, right? They make the same kind of music. It's almost like a template. It's the same sound, maybe like different lyrics, maybe slightly different like melody or hook, but it's essentially, I think people want like diversity and growth, right? And to answer your second question, I think that's what's holding some of them back. And maybe they need like, you know, just experience, or like, I don't want to say mentorship, but just growth, I guess. And it's difficult, right? It is difficult. But for your first question, I'm going to have to look through what I listened to like in 2019 and 2018. Because I want to give you a good answer to this one.
I guess that's where a label would come in, right? They could kind of like help mold you and push you in the direction of like growth if it's not coming organically.
I wonder though, like maybe I'm just too cynical, but like, would labels push them to another safe sound, another sound that's marketable? You know what I mean? Like something that they're comfortable with, something that sells records, rather than, you know, something that diversifies them. Though I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, but. To give you an example, like Keshi, if you listen to Keshi's music when he first released, it was all kind of that lo-fi, Magnolia, like he was special in that aspect, but he grew from that, right? It went from that lo-fi stuff to that R&B stuff, like off on off on on. Sorry, on off on off on. I can't remember what it is, but and then you see his new stuff, the EP before his newest one. He played more like acoustic-y stuff. He played more like almost like John Mayer kind of stuff, right? And then singer-songwriter stuff, exactly. And then this newest one, he put out like Talk, which blew away any expectations of Keshi, and it was still a banger. And that's how you know like this artist is golden, right?
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, and like that's also why I have such like, I don't want to say high expectations, but like high expectations for Keshi, because he's so multi-talented.
He is.
I remember like around the same time I was into your channel, that's when like the 24/7 lo-fi channel had just started to catch traction.
Yeah.
And like I know a bunch of like producers in the scene that they immediately latched onto like the lo-fi sound, and like if you're good at what you do it, right? But like I feel like I was looking at some of their work at the end of 2020, the beginning of this year, and it's like it's the same thing that I've been doing for 4 years, and it's like you can't really do that in today's musical industry, whether you're small time or not. If you're still writing the same songs, the same style, 3-4 years removed from when you started popping off, your fans are going to appreciate you, but how much will they want to invest in you if you put out the same thing over and over again?
That's also, you bring up a good point, because music there's trends to it, right? It's cyclical. So right now, back, I don't know, 2018, 2017, or whatever it was, lo-fi was huge. Lo-fi was like peaking, right? But these days, I feel like lo-fi is a bit on a decline. So if you're a producer and you're still kind of making that kind of type of music, your fan base is gonna get smaller and smaller. It's just the way that the popularity is, right? The way that trends go.
Yeah. It's true. And like I don't know, like I love lo-fi music, and like I also love like synthwave music, and I like chill wave and all of that stuff, but it's hard for me to hold on to some of those artists with the same vigor I did before, just because I'm not seeing any change.
Yeah.
I still appreciate them for what they do.
Just give me 1 sec. I'm gonna check out my old playlist on Spotify to see how I can answer your first question better. And that first question was more about other artists I think that could make it big, or some artists that haven't quite yet. How do I do this? Okay. I'm gonna try to stay positive with this response. So the artists that I don't think, or the artists that haven't made it yet, and why they haven't made it is because, to me personally, they stopped making music. You probably know the artist Bevy Mako.
Yeah.
Where did he go? I'm waiting on his tracks, right? Like he made bangers back in the day. They were so good. I think he's still like in the music scene in Korea, maybe doing producing or working with other artists. But I want some solo stuff, right? I want like him to like make more music, because if you followed my channel back in the day, every time he had a new release, it would be on it within like a couple hours if I found it. 100%.
Yeah. No, like I really enjoyed Bevy. I have like a list of like my favorite artists over the years, most of them coming from your and Bevy's like number 4. And I wanted to ask you, like, do you ever reach out to some of these artists that maybe fell off? Like I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Idea Dead?
Idea Dead.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember on your acoustic, it was one of your earlier acoustic.
That was my most popular playlist.
Yeah. What happened? How come I don't see any more music from them? And has anyone even known where these artists disappeared to?
So low key, I know this is an interview, and I'm fine with this being out, but he's actually one of the artists that didn't respond to my ask to put his music on my channel, but I did it anyway. Don't tell anyone. But I had to share his music. Like, it was so good, but from what I've heard, I heard he doesn't make music like as a full-time job or anything. It's just his hobby. And yeah, you're right. He has like so much talent there and so much skill, and his voice and is amazing. And it's a shame that he doesn't make this his full-time career. But like, people have different priorities in life, I guess, in different situations. Yeah,
I guess for me, it's something like I can enjoy an artist that maybe they find music to be like a pastime instead of like a longing, like something they need to do every day. I need to write, I need to put out music all the time. Sometimes it's just, like I've written 12 songs over the last 3 years. Maybe I'll put out an album, maybe not. And I don't mind that, but I don't know. I just feel like when you put out something so mercurial and then you just disappear, it's like, why? I don't know, but that's okay. Everyone has their own path, right?
For other artists, I have reached out to a few of them, and from just a few that I reached out to, they said they're still in the music scene, but they're just working on stuff. But yeah, nothing has been released. So maybe they're just kind of making a buck through because obviously in the music industry there's so many things you can do. As you said, you did the backing guitar and stuff. You can do music production, you can do mixing and mastering. So maybe they just found another avenue within the music industry to pursue, and they're doing that instead.
Yeah, well, wish them all the best, But I wouldn't mind hearing new track every once in a while. If anyone picks up on this video and you know there are bangers that I like of yours, please put something else out, you know?
Oh, you mentioned your top artist, and Bevy was number 4, but who rounds out your top 5?
Top 5? Ooh, okay, top 5. Top 5 in no order, I would say, is Bevy, Soul Child, Summer Soul, Rehab, and Keshi.
Oh yeah, like, you follow my channel for sure.
I'm telling you, everyone I got through your channel, you put everyone on, bro.
No, but even those people, that's 100% like, I remember Rehab back in the day. He was also one of those people. He's like a workhorse. He put out so many tracks, and I'd post his music all the time. And I know that he like signed to a couple labels, or maybe one label, but it didn't work out well.
I remember.
So he had to like, go through that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure how active he is now. He's definitely posts less, but I'm hoping that he makes a resurgence. Summer Soul is definitely good too. I think she signed to a label, I'm pretty sure. Like, she's been posting music videos and more like official releases, so I think she's doing all right. And I actually bought one of Summer Soul's albums, and I was going to Korea that year, and I got her to ship it to one of my friends who lives in Korea, and she wrote a really nice note on it. Like, I think there was like a image attached, like a film image attached to it, and she wrote on the back like, "Oh, like, thanks for all your support, and you're doing great things for the industry," and that really meant a lot to me. Wow.
Yeah, she's so talented. She's so talented. And if I can expand on my top list a bit, I would say Ocean from the Blue. Back when he was known as just Ocean, I believe. Yeah. Rosie, Jimmy Brown, Ripley. Milky Day's a little bit new for me. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Ye Young. Yeah, and Soul, and did I say Siki?
No, you didn't.
Okay, well, there I go. For me, a lot of those artists, like, the reason why I like them too is because their sound was so unique, right? It's not just how they had their voices going across, how their tracks were produced, but it was like the aesthetic as well. Like, it's not like you see an entire backdrop of stuff for them, but Soul Child would put out music, and he had like that bit of mysteriousness that reminded me of a lot of Canadian artists in like the early 2010 era, right? Like, obviously there was The Weeknd, and you had just like that sort of artist that would come out and they would just let the music do the talking, and they would slowly introduce more and more of themselves over time. For me, like, I just feel like the K-indie scene was so good at that, and there were so many powerhouses in like the last 3-4 years that I don't know. I feel that they can still break out, but I want them to continue pushing the boundaries of Korean music, you know?
Yeah, and there's so many things, like, even in that short sentence that you just listed off those artists, there's so much stuff I want to say. So, number 1, Ocean's new album, Ocean from the Blues' new album, was fantastic, and that's an artist who I feel like has grown a lot too. I listened to that album from like the first track to the last, and I was wowed. Every single track that was not like an interlude or one of the short ones, I liked. And that's why if you see my YouTube channel, I uploaded like 8 songs from him. Oh, yeah. And I feel like he's doing really well for himself too. Like, he was on a radio interview with some bigger name rappers. Okay. And I think he had some label interest too. I can't remember, but yeah, he's doing well, and I'm really looking forward to his new releases. Soul Child, I love Soul Child. Soul Child's like my man. Him and Keshi are like the 2 artists I'm probably closest with. Soul Child was the first artist I ever met in real life. Wow. So yeah, I went to Vancouver. He's from Vancouver, to visit friends, and I just hit him up on Instagram, like, hey, like, do you want to grab a drink and just hang out and stuff? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we got ramen, grabbed some drinks, and he's like he's super tall. He's like this much taller than me. He's probably like 6'3" or something. And just the nicest guy, and he's super goofy, and you can't tell by his music that he's like funny and like, I don't know, if you ever seen his live streams.
I'm on a lot of his live streams. Come to Toronto, fam. Come to Toronto, please. Come to Toronto. I've DM'd him. I'm like, yo, come to Toronto. Like, I'll arrange something for you. You can sleep on my couch. You know, I'll make sure venues will have you in for the weekend.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, he's the nicest dude.
He's great. And, like, he's so cool. Like, just everything about him. His music is cool. I relate to a lot of it, and I don't know. Like, just it's a real rock star voice. You know what I mean?
His music personality, like his music, how he comes across in music versus how he is in like either real life or on Instagram or whatever, is totally different. That's what I love about him. Such a goofball. The last thing I wanted to say was Jimmy Brown. I think he's going to be the next one to make waves. He's going to be. I love all of his music too, and I feel like he's gaining fans so quickly, and all of his tracks are bangers as well. So yeah, he's definitely. If I were a betting man, he'd be number one for the next big indie star, I guess, or whatever.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, all the other artists that you mentioned, I love too, and I have stories about them, but I won't take up too much time.
That's okay. There will be maybe future conversations, or you know what? Like, if I could get any of these artists on, I would love to just like hear what they've been up to over the last few years and stuff.
That'd be dope, yeah.
Like, I also think that's something I would like to personally see from the K indie scene, is that we don't have a lot, as if I'm in the scene, there isn't a lot of like interviews, and while there is collaboration, I would like to see more like cross collaboration on social media platforms, right? Like, it's great to repost someone's new single and stuff, but go on an IG live with someone else, and like, even if we're in COVID times right now, there are things that I feel that they can do, because a lot of the fans, there's overlap, right? Like, you may not know who Rosie is, you may not know who SLCHLD is, but people know your channel, and then they'll discover those artists and like 20 other artists that are similar, or maybe more akin to what they're into. So by moving past the music and having that like additional social media presence, collaborating with each other, I feel that would just be great for all of them.
Yeah, and no, you're 100% right. And I've tried to. I was thinking about interviewing artists too and stuff, but it's a skill and it's difficult. And obviously, you do a good job of it, but it is difficult. And hopefully, I really hope that your channel blows up and you're able to reach out to these artists and get some more content out of them, because I follow Keshi fan channels as well on Instagram, and whenever they post interviews, it's I learn something new about him and or read those articles that he has with other like newspapers or whatever, and I like him even more, right? He's so relatable, and I wish that other artists have the same avenue opportunity to kind of express themselves as well.
Yeah, because like there's a whole world out there, right? And we would love to actually get to know these artists more. Like, SLCHLD got a Stratocaster recently, and I would love to just talk to him about guitar and like ask him like, are you playing now for yourself, or like have you always played, what model Strat that is? Like, music nerds like me would love to hear that, but it's not just me. For example, there are like music channels or music websites, I should say, forums, Reddit, the Gear page, Strat Talk, like an artist like Keshi has been mentioned on those pages, and it's cool when I'm scrolling and I see someone say something about Keshi and because he plays a Fender Strat. But like SLCHLD as well, and so many of these other artists have Strats, they have Tellies, they play instruments. There's so much depth to them that we don't necessarily see, but by just putting it out there, you can have like the 45-year-old in middle America who's never listened to any sort of Korean music but loves like slower lo-fi R&B, maybe like guitar-y, synthy stuff. They can get put onto this artist and everyone else. So I don't know, I would love to see that happen though.
For sure 100% agreed.
So how do you think this scene is going to change going into the 20s? Like, looking at how the music is now and looking at like the lack of live, do you think that's going to translate to more complex tracks, more people putting out albums, or do you think we're going to kind of wait dormant and then go out when everything opens up again?
I really hate to bring up Keshi again, but I guess he's the artist I like really, really pay attention to the most.
This is the Keshi podcast.
But like he said in an interview that because of the lockdown, he's put a lot of time into his latest EP, right? And because of the lockdown, he's learned how to play piano, which opens up so much more avenues to his songwriting. And because of the lockdown, like he just had so much opportunity to make music, to think about music, to learn about music, right? And so I'm hoping that through this process of people not being able to tour, although like obviously touring is awesome, that they're almost forced to make new music, forced to explore kind of different the musical side, right? So I mean, it's a wild guess, but I'm just hoping and I'm wishing for like new tracks and artists evolving through this hardship through COVID. Um, yeah, other than that, I wish I could make more predictions about the music scene, but I am not Nostradamus, unfortunately.
It's okay. I feel like we're all left in the dark a bit.
Yeah.
But mentioning COVID, how are you doing? And the whole lockdown. Like, I don't know what restrictions are happening in your province right now, but me and my friends here in Ontario have been pretty down. And tomorrow we're going back into like whatever last year's lockdown was, which means that you can't go out, you can't see anybody. If you're on the streets, if you're driving somewhere, a cop pulls you over, you need to be accountable for where you're going. There's a lot of anxiety right now, and I don't know if you guys are going through the same thing, if you are personally going through that same anxiety.
It's tough. It really is. And in Alberta, you're basically not supposed to go out unless you need to, but I have so many qualms with our government and especially our provincial government, but I'm not going to get into like political talk, but one side of me, like, I wish it was hard lockdowns, like everything is closed down so we can just get over it, right? We can be like, I don't know, some like Australia or New Zealand, whoever locked down and then got barely any cases, or like China right now I have a friend in China. Yeah, I have a friend in China, in Shanghai, and he said that life is back to normal. You can go clubbing, you can go to bars, you can go out to eat, and there's no problem. So one side of me really wishes that absolutely everything will close down for forever, how long it takes. But the other side of me is, I guess it's part of the same. It's the same thing. I'm doing okay, but I'm a social person. I wish I could see my friends again. I wish I could go out to eat with my girlfriend. I wish I can go drink at the bar. I wish I could go see a show. It's tough. And to be completely quite honest with you, when I heard vaccines were coming, I was ecstatic. I was super happy. And then I kind of got like deflated because I realized that you're probably in the same situation, but since we're in a general demographic where we're healthy young people, we're not going to get the vaccine until last. We're not going to get it till like fall, right? Yeah. So once I heard that the vaccine, like I was gonna get the vaccine for a while, and obviously I don't want to get it first or anything, but I was a little let down. Like I was so excited to live my life again, and it's I don't know, difficult to stay in every weekend and stuff, but it is what it is. And to be positive though, I am happy to work from home. I used to take transit to work, so it's really nice to wake up and go to my computer room.
That's one of the benefits for me as well. I did lose my job at the top of COVID last year, but then I ended up getting a new position later on in the year, and it's just being work from home. So like that's not bad because I used to travel like an hour and a half both ways.
Oh God.
Yeah, just because like I like my job, but the thing is, like you, like I'm a social person, like I'm a club rat. I really am a club rat. I used to go out on Fridays and on Saturdays and Sundays I would go out for dinner with my friends, and maybe like a Wednesday or Thursday would be date night or whatever. And I haven't gone out in the last time I went clubbing, last time I went out anywhere like fun was maybe like February of last year. When the cases started happening, yeah. I kind of got paranoid and I stayed home for a bit. But it's just the fact that like I was looking forward to seeing artists. I was looking forward to like actually going to like just do fun things and see people who I've never been able to see before perform. And now it's looking like 2022.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I've literally gone out to eat at a restaurant twice since lockdown happened, and one of them was on a patio, so it's hard.
You know what? I support the patio thing because businesses need to make money any way they can, but I also hate the patio experience. I've actually never sat in a patio in my entire life until I went once during the summer, and I'm like, okay, this was fun. I'm not doing this next week.
What do you hate about it?
I don't want to get grim. Do you know that meme where it's like that dog or whatever, and he's just sitting in his house and everything is burning around him, and he's like, oh, this is fine, this is fine, and it starts catching on to him, and he's like, oh, this is fine. It's fine, right? It's fine to get with your friends after a while and like do something fun, making the best of a bad situation. But I felt back in like the summer that, oh, this is a bad situation, and it seems like our government isn't really doing all they necessarily need to do. Some people aren't really like listening to like the restrictions that are in place, and it's just going to get worse. And lo and behold, so many restaurants I used to go to, so many clubs I used to go to have all closed down because they can't have a patio during winter.
I see what you mean. I thought you hated patios in general, but yeah, patios during COVID is a different story for sure. And it's still, honestly, depending who you meet up and depending obviously how close you sit and how the restaurant layout is, it's kind of irresponsible still, to be quite honest.
It is. I went to Niagara Falls, and I swear Niagara Falls was like Miami in Canada.
God.
They did not care. People were sitting in restaurants without a mask, just eating, and I'm like, I know you can't do that, but when in Rome or Niagara, right? I don't know. Oh well. To brighter, more happy topics. How do you see your channel evolving going forward? You have hundreds of thousands of followers, and people hang on to every word you say and every video you post up. But what's next for you?
I think I was asking myself this question, not even just during COVID, but during the last year or couple years, and there are avenues where I could grow. And I was thinking about like expanding to vlogging, expanding to interviewing, expanding to that kind of stuff. But to be quite honest, I'm kind of happy about the place that I am, because this has always been a hobby for me, right? And I have a full-time job, and I have a girlfriend, I have friends and family I need to put time into. So to be quite honest, I'm happy where I'm at, and maybe like I need to get a little better with post frequency and being more consistent, but I don't think I want to expand too much more. I think if you asked a younger, more a Daniel that dreams bigger, I would say, the Danielions music label, the Danielions like concert series, that kind of stuff. But I'm old now, and I'm grizzled, and I know how the world is. And to be quite honest, I think I'm lucky enough to have my channels and to have the platform that I have already. And I think my goals are just to keep giving you guys good music and keep giving these other artists a platform where they can show their music.
And we're very grateful for everything that you do. Thank you. Okay, would you consider any collab playlists? I know you said like just recently you're fine with how you are, but like WLK, for example, like they're also a really awesome channel. Have you guys ever thought about like a year-end collab, my favorite 10, their favorite 10, or an artist come and collab with you?
Me and WLK, Freddie, we're tight actually. He's like my best friend in like the YouTube sphere. Yeah, I don't have a lot of friends, to be honest, but like me and him are pretty tight, and he started his channel before I did. But I've spoken to him about our channels and stuff, and really it hasn't gone more than that. We did have some ideas, but nothing has really come to fruition. We've both been busy with our own lives, but yeah, I don't know. Like if we think of something that is possible for the both of us, and I would definitely be down to do a collab with him. I did do one with this other playlister. Her name is Crippling Depression. Before it was something about Jimin. Yeah, and the collab got posted on her channel. So I selected like 10 songs. She selected 10 songs. I ordered them, and I kind of made them flow how I like to make it float, and she put it together. So that's fun. Definitely down for more, if any. Actually, like honestly, there have been so many more playlist channels popping up these days that I don't even know like if mine's like the most popular anymore. Maybe there's a bigger one that maybe I should approach them. Maybe they can grow my channel for me. I don't know. But yeah, if anyone is down for collabs, just hit me up on Instagram, and I'm down.
Cool. All right. Well, you guys heard it here from the source, So just going off of playlists, I want to quickly mention some of my favorite playlists from your channel, and I'm going to link your most recent playlist that you put out yesterday. Text from your ex.
Yeah.
That's a good playlist. It hit me in the face a little bit. But on your channel, some of my favorite playlists, these are the playlists that I would put on those long commutes to work and those boring shifts of me just, typing in the computer or dealing with clients. Like your music and like the artist's music and everything you guys put together, it really helped me. Keshi, that playlist was great. Songs to make out to.
It's the popular right now. That's the one that the algorithm loves right now.
Oh yeah, we're all making out to that playlist. SLCHLD playlist, V1 and V2. Like I have said so many times already, but thank you for putting me onto that artist, and I really appreciate that. The alt rock dream pop playlist was also pretty interesting. I love dream pop music.
Let me look that one up. I think I know which one you're talking about. I have a few rock playlists, but I just want to make sure this is the right one. Is it the... Oh my god, is this the Oyoung one, the Gong Gong Carpet one?
Yeah, I believe so.
7 songs?
Yes, yeah. It was short but sweet.
Oh man. Oh, I can't believe you like that one. So that's like probably one of my least popular playlists. And I'm so glad you brought that up because his music is mesmerizing. It's kind of strange in some aspects. It's totally not the norm. But I really loved his sound, and oh my god, I'm gonna listen to this playlist after this interview. But thank you for bringing it up, and thank you for showing it love. Wow, yeah, that's a gold one. No. Yeah,
and like I guess it's because like I'm a rock guy, and like I listen to all different music, but like it's so interesting to you spend your entire life listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Eagles, and all these other like rock bands, but you hear like rock music or dream pop done from like a different country, and it's still music, but it's a little different. It has a slightly different slant to it. Even just the way like enunciation happens, it makes you feel, even though you don't understand the words. And I don't know, it means a lot to me.
To chime in there, have you heard of Wave to Earth?
Yes, I have.
I love their music too, and I think they've won one, I don't want to say a talent show, but some like contest with CJ Entertainment. I think it's like a yearly thing or maybe biannually, but they won one of those things and they did a show, and the genius behind Wave to Earth is Daniel Kim, I believe. And he has like another band called The Poles, and he's done his own solo stuff, and everything that he puts out is gold. You definitely got to check out his music too.
I'll dig deeper. Thank you. I Need You Tonight was good. Night Vibes was really good. Something about your sequencing of tracks, man. You really know how to make something cinematic. Even though there's so many different artists, it sounds like a soundtrack to a season of a show or a movie.
Thank you so much for saying that. I'm going to interrupt you, but thank you so much, because honestly, my favorite part of making playlists is ordering them and making them flow, and you're right. It's almost like cinematography for your ears, right? And just I hate it when I shouldn't say hate, but when you put songs on shuffle, and it's still nice to listen to because I like those tracks. But when you can sequence the songs so they flow and they tell a story essentially, and it's definitely my favorite thing. And that big Keshi playlist, like 30 songs to it. That was the best one to order because he has so many distinct sounds, right? And the challenge for me isn't identifying which songs go in which section. It's finding which songs connect each section. I call them like transition songs, and that's always the fun parts.
Has there ever been a playlist that you've listened to maybe a year removed, and you're like, I wish I could have switched track 7 with track 9? I wish I put this song in, or I wish I used a different mix that the artist put out right afterwards? Or do you just kind of live with the playlist and you're happy with it?
Honestly, sometimes I for my old playlists, sometimes I wonder why I put a certain song on there. I don't know, maybe my tastes have evolved or they've changed a bit, but Some of the songs that I put out, I don't think they'd be up to 2021 Danielions standard, to be quite honest. I'm just being critical of myself and then maybe too critical of the artist, but
So
I don't know.
there's an artist out there where your song isn't that great.
I wouldn't say that, but like it's there's there's so much talent out there, and I want my playlist to be the best on YouTube, and maybe I'm giving myself too much criticism because there's so many competition out there, even though I don't think it was competition. I think it's great to just have any platform for these artists to share their music, but I just want to be the best playlist on YouTube, and I want my playlist to be the best just because I want to showcase the best music, I guess. But I don't know, just being critical of myself, really.
That's fine. That's fine. It's completely understandable, right? Like I feel the same way when I have my own Spotify playlist, and like I listen to it 6 months later, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know why Taylor Swift is on this trap playlist, but like Folklore is a great album, but I don't know about.
You were in the mood.
I'd fall for you. Like Rain on Pavement was a good one as well.
That gives me a lot of memories for that one. And that one reminds me of two things. It reminds me of Vancouver, and it reminds me of the poem I inserted in the description, because I felt like that poem, it matched the tone of the tracks and the title and the background so well. And if anyone is listening to this, you should read that poem while you listen to the playlist, and you won't be disappointed.
Next time I listen to that playlist, I'll make sure I'm reading the poem to go along with it.
Sounds good. And also, I really think that's probably the best YouTube playlist name I've ever come up with. It gets difficult these days, and I feel like that the algorithm these days, it's more about being direct about what your playlist is. I feel like whenever I just say, what was the recent one I did? Like even like songs to make out to, right? It's pretty direct. It's like it's a sexy time playlist, but I fall for you like Rain on Pavement. Like, I don't know, it's kind of magical to me, and that's the kind of stuff I like.
It is even like a statement like that. Like I can imagine saying that to someone, and that's it. That scene in the K-drama where like it pans, and then like I'm looking all like stern, It works though. It definitely like it illuminates a sort of scenario that whether you've been in it before or you've never been in it, it soundtracks it very well too. So you really put a lot of work into your playlist, and I am so happy that I came across them.
Yeah, I don't know. I appreciate the sentiment for sure. I think there's a lot that goes into the playlist that beyond just the music that are selected, titles, backgrounds, the ordering, the descriptions and stuff. Sometimes, honestly, I'm a little burnt out from work and I don't put in as much effort as I want to, but some gems come out sometimes, I guess, like that.
What about your best of playlists? Which one of those are your favorite? Because for me, the 2017 Underground K-R&B, I actually think that may be, was that the first one, the 2017?
I'm gonna look this up.
That was a good one. Underground K-R&B Best of 2017 for me, it just felt like a greatest hit. It didn't even really feel like best of. It felt like a greatest hit of every single artist at that time, and it really like encapsulated what the scene was going through.
Where's my best of playlists? I thought it organized this better. Those are so hard to make, and it's beginning of January, and I haven't put out anything for 2020, and I know I should, and I don't know what to do. But
Don't be patient. Don't worry.
Those ones. Just give me 1 sec. Let me pull this up so I don't get anything wrong here.
Take your time.
The magic of video editing, right? You said best of 2017?
Yeah.
I have 3 of them that year apparently. Actually more than 3. I have like 5 of them. Oh my god, I was so keen. So there's this K&D sad, K&D happy, R&B sexy, hip hop chill, K-R&B chill, K-R&B feels.
Yeah, I feel like I've listened to all of them. The happy was really good. The sad made me depressed. Super depressed.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. It worked.
Oh man, like the best of 2017 R&B chill one is blocked. That sucks. So yeah, if people don't know, sometimes I usually do ask all the artists for their permission, but if they sign to a label or if they release a song officially, sometimes they can give you not copyright strikes, but copyright claims and block your videos. But, I can't complain too much since it's their music, right?
Yeah, but that's still annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a long one. The R&B one was 33 songs. Which one was the Feels one? I feel like I like the Feels one. Yeah, I don't know, but honestly, for the best of playlists, I think my favorite one is probably best of 2016 K Indie Happy, and that's probably the one of my biggest or the most popular channels or most popular videos on my channel. That's one with like those two K-pop idols eating cotton candy on the white screen, and I think that image is like perfect. Yeah. And the music was super happy and acoustic and wonderful. So that's definitely one of my favorites.
So, because you're pretty much a pro at this, can you give advice to people about like what makes a good YouTube video, whether it's a compilation or a single song? Like you obviously put a lot of thought into not just making sure the album art or the single art is accurate, but like even if you're getting like content for your longer playlists, it's not just the sequencing, but it's also the fact that you have that art. And like, for example, I've been watching a lot of your live streams lately, like when you live stream the playlist now, and just something about like sitting back and turning off the lights, playing the music, and on my screen I also have the image that corresponds with the music. For me, it's just like I feel that this person must have sat down for like at least 2 hours and figured out which of these 5 images is going to work best with the music that I'm hearing over 40 minutes. Because I've never once seen an image on any of your videos and thought, oh, this doesn't really fit the vibe of what I'm listening to.
The most difficult thing about making playlists is finding an image. And it's, I don't know, I used to put a lot of time into like Tumblr. I used to like browsing and looking at photos and stuff and saving photos. I'm not too much into Tumblr these days, so I don't really have like a repository of photos I can select. But oh God, like searching the internet and finding images that would be suitable for the feel, the vibe that you're going for a playlist is very, very difficult for me personally. But honestly, I think maybe this is for playlisters, but you have to start out strong. The first few songs that you select in your playlist, I would say the first two or three will dictate how well your playlists do, I think. Because I think how people listen to YouTube is that they put on playlists when they want to do other stuff. Like they're not sitting down and only looking at this playlist. They're putting it on and doing work, studying, doing whatever. So you got to hook them in first and then play out the rest. And you can see through any video service, any videos that you'll do, that the amount of people who watch it will slowly go down through the time, the duration of the video, right? And that's how it is. People get busy, people do other stuff. So in order to really hook them into your playlist, make sure that your first 1 or 2 songs are the best, essentially. Yeah. And I think like these days probably, I've read like YouTube stuff before and tips and how to make your videos more popular and just do my due diligence like that. And I've heard that thumbnails go a long way, putting more effort into that. If you see my channel, like I've never did thumbnails before, but I think last year I started doing them more. Your titles, what YouTube recommends is that if your video isn't doing that well compared to your other stats, then you can change the title or a thumbnail, and it might give it a little bump. So yeah, it's all about the algorithm, right? And getting your video shown to as much people as you can. But I guess those are more like the intermediate tips when you have more of a user base. But for YouTubers who are just starting out, honestly, don't do it for the views. Don't do it for money. Don't do it to get popular. Just do it because you enjoy doing it. And if you blow up, great. You can show your videos to more people. But the end goal isn't to be popular. The end goal is just to create something that you'd be happy about. That's
right. It's true. Because like, I would personally hate if I put up like, I don't know, reaction videos or whatever I'm not vibing with, and then like 2 years later I look back and I'm like, why did I make that content? Like I made it just for the popularity, for the likes. Like, did I actually feel anything towards the content that I was making? And I've seen some friends who start a YouTube channel and they burn out within a year, and it's because they weren't really ever in love with what they were doing. They just wanted to make a YouTube channel and just put out as much content that followed the algorithm as possible. And if you don't have that passion or that love, it's really hard to keep on going, right? It's like being in a loveless relationship, and everyone around you can see, and like, you know, they're asking like, oh, hey, when's your next video gonna come out? You know, I haven't seen you put out a video in 2 or 3 weeks, and it's hard to tell them that like I'm not in love with what I do.
Yeah. I think that's like advice for just life in general.
Yeah, I should follow my own advice. Oh my god. I have a couple more playlists I want to bring up with you that I really enjoyed. The Get Up and Dance playlist. That was so energetic. I think it was only maybe like 45 minutes, 50 minutes or something like that, but it was a really good playlist. And I haven't really like explored many of those artists on that playlist, but like, I remember going to the gym and just putting it on, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a vibe.
Yeah, I'm you know me, like I'm all about the chill stuff. I like just like the kind of sad, like just super low key stuff. But every so often I find just a bop, as they say, and I save it, and eventually when I find enough songs, I can make a playlist out of it. But that was a good one too. Yeah.
That was a good one. Speaking of like the chill kind of sad playlist, Alone was a good one, and Lonely for You Only.
I did not come up with that title. I did not. It's a pretty popular phrase, I guess. And there's been neon art on restaurants or like bars or whatever. So I cannot claim to come up with that, but that definitely is a good title.
No, that was a great one. I really enjoyed that one. I'm like, yeah.
Alone, is that the mini mix one?
Yes,
it's like 4 songs or 6 songs or something.
I think it's 6 songs. It's not very long. Like it's good for just when like you wake up and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that shit I did yesterday. Oh, that's again. Oh my god. All right, let me put on Alone.
Oh my god, like I am so happy to be talking with you. You are a true Danielions fan. Oh my goodness, these are like.
There's a lot of us.
This is like deep in my catalog for sure.
I'm just nosy enough to dig into like everything you've done. Right? Like, there's so many, like the Korean indie acoustic one. I think that was the earliest acoustic one you did. That was fantastic, and Paper and Pigment for me as well. I don't know why, like that one sat with me a little differently, and like I think that was when I kind of started not getting disillusioned, but like when I'm listening to other genres of music and like I'm seeing other artists live, I can't help but compare, right? Like it's just who I am, and I'm not going to say I was bored with K indie, but I was kind of feeling like, I don't know, like it doesn't feel so many things are super compelling. But then dropped that playlist, and I was like, okay, Paper and Pigment, like this kind of reminds me of like those earlier playlists, like as I mentioned, Korean indie acoustic, where it was just like an interesting take on music that I'm currently listening to, but it's done from people of a different culture, and it's just such an interesting twist. And I don't know, like it sits with me really well.
I'm gonna look that one up real quick too. I will say though that Korean acoustic indie one, I remember posting that, and then I think I went out like the day after or something, and I woke up in my friend's place and I was looking at like my phone, and it was blowing up like crazy. I got like tens of thousands of views within a day, and I remember, you know, like light bulb memory, where you know exactly where you were in that moment. So when you mention that, that's where I think of. I'm on my friends like extra bed, just like scrolling through the comments and scrolling through the views and stuff, and I was like just so happy. I was astounded that this playlist did so well. I don't know if you know, but in that playlist, in the description, I specifically said that I don't know if people will really enjoy this genre, because again, I posted more like R&B chill stuff. So for that to be like my number one playlist on my channel is just astounding, and it goes to show that you never know what your audience will like, I guess, and never know what the algorithm will like either.
It's true. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think that like I don't know. You tell us. Was that kind of like one of the moments where it's like, okay, like I love making these videos, I love this music, but seeing this reaction and seeing how people feel so good about it, and that so many people are relating to how I felt when I was putting together this playlist, it makes it all worth it. Was that one of those moments where it's just like, okay, yes, I am on the right path. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing.
For me, it's similar to that, but I remember making that playlist too, and I remember I was on SoundCloud and looking up songs and stuff, and I just kept on finding like great track after great track after great track. And I reached out to one of the artists on that playlist, and I asked her, like, can I include your song? And she's a bit hesitant, right? Because she was thinking about releasing that track on her upcoming EP and didn't know if she wanted to be released yet. But I asked her, like, I basically begged her, like, please, like, it's this track is amazing. I need to include it. And eventually she let me. And so it wasn't so much in that I knew I was on the right track, but I knew that I wanted to get this music out there. I knew I wanted to use my, then platform wasn't as big now, but I knew I wanted to use whatever influence I had to put these artists on. Like, I needed to give them a platform for sure, and to get their music heard.
Well, I guess we can all say that it worked out for you and many other people, right? So that's great. That's really it. We've gone through pretty much all the questions I wanted to ask you, but was there anything that you wanted to talk about, or anything you wanted to ask me, or elaborate on something that I may have asked or said earlier?
I think we covered everything pretty well. Although I guess you mentioned before what else I wanted to do with my channel and how it can grow and stuff. I was thinking about doing a vlog on the artists I've met and my interactions with them and all of that. But if that doesn't come to fruition, then maybe I'll just have an interview with you and I can talk about all these artists and how they were in person. Okay. That can be video number 2.
Yeah, that works. Let me know if you ever want to do anything else in the future. And I'm locked in my house like everyone else. I'm sure I can make the time.
Sounds good.
Actually, you know what? One more quick question, and I hope we don't alienate any fans. But can you list off your best artists of 2020 within these categories? Best R&B, K&D.
Has to be Korean. That would it's so hard. I don't want to alienate any artists and stuff, but I think that honor would have to go.
It doesn't need to be the best. It could be one that you played a lot.
I think that has to be Jimmy Brown, and Jimmy Brown, he got my attention for sure last year, and he put out so many jams, and he continues to even this month.
Yeah, he's definitely on a roll, and I think 2021 is going to be even bigger for him.
Oh man, but this is too hard. Okay, one more, and it's only because you mentioned this before as well. But songs to make out to oOoO. Her name is stylized as the big O small O, big O small O.
I was wondering how to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's oOoO because it's O and a net means 4 in Korean. Okay. So yeah, like I don't love all the stuff she puts out like I do like Jimmy's, but the stuff that she puts out that I vibe with, I vibe with so hard. She has a really like a sultry voice, and it's like that really like sexy R&B feel, which I really like. And clearly that place is blown up, and I see like mentions of her song everywhere now. So it's clearly other people think the same.
Oh, that's good. That's another artist for us to look out for. Best Korean rock artist.
Wave to Earth. I think if I could give you guys recommendations, give me one sec. Wave, Light, and there was one more Ride. So those are my 3 favorites for them.
Okay. So everyone put that on your playlist. Let's get those numbers up for them. Best Korean pop, indie or otherwise. So if you have a secret Blackpink love you want to reveal to the world, or a BTS love you want to reveal to the world, now is the time.
I really do not. I actually haven't listened to K-pop at all. Like, Oh God, I can't give you an answer to that.
It could be indie too.
I feel like I'm gonna get chewed out for not being a BTS fan, but
I can edit that out if you want me to. But I don't want anyone on Twitter to. I don't want the army to start yelling at us.
yeah, I will say though, I did like RM stuff. He had like mixtapes or whatever back in the day that wasn't through BTS. It's kind of his solo stuff. That was really good, and even I think Jimin did some. I have a song of his on my channel. One of his solo stuff that was actually pretty good. Let me look this up. Maybe I'll get some K-pop love from this.
While you do that, I do want to say that something I really hope artists do, and I kind of mentioned this earlier on in the interview, is take a cue from how like hip hop and R&B artists back in like the 90s and 2000s were coming together and making a super group, whether it was like a really great feature or duet. Like I can't imagine how many great early 2000s duets we had between all of these amazing female artists, and I see that in like K-pop, but I don't see it in K-indie, and I really hope that we can like take examples of what BTS is doing and kind of like apply it to like, you know, not so manufactured, not so plastic, but when you have 7 people in a group and they all have their own identity and they can all put out their own music as well, why not follow that same method? Because it's clearly working for them, and I just feel like that's another way to increase your audience, right? If you collaborate with someone and you have this amazing feature with like 5 of the biggest names right now in K-indie, everyone is going to love it and they're going to want more. So
Yeah.
just get with it, start with it.
And
Maybe that's asking for too much. Maybe find the scene.
and also what you said, I have a true answer for your K-pop question. And when you brought up like the old school R&B stuff, Rain and JYP had this New Jack Swing song called "Switch to Me." I love it. Oh my God, I love that song.
So New Jack Swing is coming back really hard. If you haven't already started producing New Jack Swing, you're too late. But you know, you'll hop on, you can get on the second wave, because there's something about that early 90s sound that people are remembering. Like that Janet Jackson, like Michael Jackson during like I think it was Bad. Not Bad. Oh my God, I don't even remember the album now, but it was the album released in 1991. Like all that New Jack sound, it's so good, and it really lays itself well to the way we can produce. Everything can be done in the box now, and like you can easily create those songs that just really kick into your ear within like a couple days. So
Yeah, it's like an earworm. It's so catchy. Have you listened to that song, "Switch to Me"?
no, but I
Listen to it after this. Oh my God, you're gonna love it.
okay. Alexa, put action. No, yeah, like, but you see, like you have that ear. Even you can tell, like that's a genre that I'm hoping more artists can start looking into and creating music of.
Yeah. One last thing, I have to give love to SLCHLD for your KR&B question, because he's given me a couple like snippets of his unreleased tracks, and my God, they're good too. And I don't know when he's gonna release them, but he's definitely one to keep an eye on. I know he's pretty popular already, but sky's the limit for SLCHLD.
Yes. I think Don't Look for Me, Harbor and Camellia, those tracks for me seem like a turning point. Like they're a very watershed moment where he did a lot of the lo-fi stuff, he did the R&B stuff, he had a little bit like rap, hip hop stuff, but it's like he's really coming into his own, and it's such a unique sound, and his voice, his tone, it lends to it so well that that's his own lane. I don't really see anyone who can compete with SLCHLD doing what SLCHLD does. So
yeah, like Camellia was super popular, and he's gotten like K-pop love from what's that guy from Shiny, the youngest one, Taemin loved the She Loves Winter. I prefer No, She Loves Spring, I Prefer Winter. I think that's what it's called.
I have that song on repeat for it's like maybe 6 months.
Yeah, but you are correct though. In Harbor, Harbor is the song that should receive the most love. Like it's the most underappreciated song by him. That's my new favorite by him for sure. I love Harbor.
Yeah. Incredible. I'm standing so hard for him. Like I if we ever get to do an interview, I have to like come off cool, you know, not like, oh my God, so tell me how you did this song. Like all right, fam, just talk to me about your music. Yeah. Nah, he's great though. But honestly, Daniel, thank you so much. This was an incredible interview, and you really opened my eyes up to a lot about what you do, and I'm sure anyone watching this will appreciate it so much. But once again, from the community and from the artists, thank you so much. You are a beacon of light and during this time, and you know everyone's going through their lockdown stuff, but it's great to know that we can put on your playlist, and whether we're going to sleep, we're working from home, we're getting ready to go out or do whatever, that we have all this different music that's really enriching our lives.
Thank you so much for having me. It was honestly a pleasure talking to you too. I can tell that you're like a true K-indie Danielions fan, even like bring up some of those old playlists that I thought that no one listened to. But yeah, thanks a lot. And to everyone else, I just want to say thank you for listening to my channel and supporting me. And I hope to give you some more Korean tunes in 2021.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
You have a good night. Take care, everyone.